All right, all you devils out there, happy Friday. Okay, here we are, about 1 o'clock here. We're going to look at Bitcoin. I've got 4 or 5 alts teed up here that are on the move, and we'll finish up with a look at the S&P. All right, so as I have been doing lately here, I'm going to start on the weekly of Bitcoin, because I think this is probably, well, I mean, this is the most simplistic look at it, right, from an Elliott Wave perspective. I think it's also the one that it would be very hard to look at this, whether you're an Elliottian or not, and not interpret that as the potential for a very bullish move here as we come off of this low. Now we could go sideways for a while here, but the structure of this it's just hard to deny that. It's hard to look at that and be bearish. Now there will always be bears, right? That's what makes a market here. But oh, God, can it get any better? From the channeling to the fib relationships, it's just hard to, again, we've been looking at this for quite some time. Hard to look at that and be bearish, right? So I promote, tweet, or where do we exit? Put a lot of content out because I don't want you to miss this. As I've said for many years now, despite all the ups and downs, I think this will continue to be the best opportunity for wealth creation, certainly in my lifetime. So maybe you think that's hyperbolic and just, bull porn, whatever you're thinking. Right? I genuinely believe that, right? My assets are invested accordingly. So as I look at this here, don't miss this. Just don't miss this. Right. Okay. So that said, now what I've got this marked off here. I'm going to do the same thing in the S&P. Right. Here's I can't on a weekly here. I can't quite get to the day, but this is this is between election week and inauguration. Kind of seeing how that there's, in my opinion, against my opinion, we are going to have absolute insanity in that period of time. I hope there's not, the worst of the potential outcomes, but I don't think it's going to be a good outcome. Right. So when good being peaceful. How about I say it that way? I think we have a lot of uncertainty, potentially a lot of some really nasty things happening in that period of time. But look how that lines up here with the finish here. So we shall see if any of that comes to pass. Hedge accordingly. I think that's. I think there's almost no possibility we don't have instead. Well, if nothing else, right, it creates uncertainty because the election is going to be contested, right? We don't even have to wonder about it, right? Of all the bets I could possibly make, the fact that it's going to be contested is I would just call it an absolute lock. So what happens when we have a contested election, right? It's uncertainty. Market doesn't like that. Careful there, right? So, but until then, until we get on the other side of inauguration, I think it's balls to the wall here, but I'm going to be cautious as we get into that. Okay, so enough of that. All right, so that should give you kind of an idea of where I think we're going. That'd be up and over 100K. We're going into the last few months of the year where Bitcoin has a tendency to shine and bulls take over, but we'll see. We've got a rough period here to get through. Okay, so that's the weekly. Let's. I'm going to go over to a four hour here. I'm going to do this for where I can. I'm going to go to BloFin, right? That's a new sponsor of ours. So because they're on TradingView here, we like to use them where we can. Now they don't have full history because they just hit TradingView. Let's see, first of the year with Bitcoin. But we're very happy with this exchange. So we're doing a lot of promotion for them. All new exchanges, they need traders. So we're working with them and currently doing a contest. So everybody, we've got something going here. I probably do this here and we'll get this out of the way. It's just a nice little promotion we're doing. This is available to anyone in our Discord. You do not have to be a paid member, right? Everybody's available to use this here. Simply open up an account with this link and then you can participate in these trades. Here's a little competition we're doing. Highest P&L wins $200 and a pro membership for 3 months. $200 in a couple of months and then $50 in 1 month here. So a little promo we're doing here just so you know that we really believe in them. Think you'll have a good experience there. Now we do get compensated, right? So full disclosure, right? I'm not trying to hide that. They do compensate us for that. We get paid off of the trading volume here, as most most people who do what I do find those kind of relationships. That's why people reach out to us. I'm very selective about who I use here, and we're very happy with them. So there's the promo for the week. Okay, that's out of the way. Now here's what we're looking at. Now we've looked at a couple of scenarios. 3 could be here on a truncation, could be here. I really don't think it matters, right? You end up here as long if we think back to the weekly here, the idea that we're working on the 4. There's a couple of different ways this could resolve. This seems to be. I kind of like the look of this right now. Whenever you're projecting a triangle, it's always hard when we're just working on the D. Do we get an E? If we hit this resistance here at this golden, which we know, Bitcoin is very responsive at the golden, right? 6 years of doing this. I don't think I need to show that much anymore, but I will, right? Just if we have lots of new subs and new members. Okay, so we've got potential here for this to be a little algo squeeze. You'll recall, right? As I showed this last week, I think. What have I got on here? Let's get a golden on here, right? So as we look here from the absolute high through this low, come right here. You see, right? We know Bitcoin loves the golden zone, right? So from swing high to this swing low as we come up, boom, right? That's the resistance. We double top into it, come down here. Now we're coming back up to the next one. Now, do I know we're going to stop there? No, I know an algo is going to fire there. I don't even have to wonder about it, right? Neither do you. We are going to have an algo fire there, but doesn't mean we can't get through, right? For every one that holds, there's one that breaks. That's just the nature of the markets. So right now, a couple of things, again, just reviewing some things we've looked at before. Here's a 5, and then it's hard not to call these 5. So doing it, get off of there. Doing it this way, so we'd go A, B, C, and then this would be A, B, and then we take the 5 here for the C of the X wave. Now, A, B, there's certainly there's a waterfall. It's open to interpretation how you label that. Clearly a 3 into the B. More likely a 3 here. It's not an impulse into the C. Now, what are we doing here? It's a little tricky, right? It's easy to look at that and see, oh, I got an impulse. Because we get a double, right? Whenever you get a double, it's hard to have a lot of conviction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 could be right into the A where we double here. 3 into the B. Should anybody's call here? What are we doing there? Tricky, right? So hard to have a lot of conviction in that. So what I'm watching here, what's the reaction here? So I've got a fair value gap here that's been mitigated, right? So it almost doesn't really need to be there, but until they break the other high of it, this software, this is the inversion fair value gaps that I use. That's not going to come off until we get on the other side of it here. But certainly, there's no need for the algo to come back here and mitigate. It's already done it. When you hit the 50%, you pretty much consider it mitigated. So what happens here? Well, if we start to roll over, boy, the triangle is going to start to look pretty good, right? And you can, again, I'm just using golden to golden, right? Why wouldn't that be your first thought? Right? Knowing how responsive it is there. Now, I don't know that it's going to pivot here. I don't know that it's going to hold here. But if I'm laying out a roadmap, that's where I start. I'd encourage you to consider that as well. Now, okay, right. So the alternative would be, if you just think logically, okay, well, could we be done here? The finish here is going to be hard to see that right now. Again, market's under no obligation to follow any pattern, right? And we want to be quick to say that. We're not a slave to the pattern. We're just using patterns that are prone to repeating, right? That's what we're doing with Elliott Wave. Now, we do have 96 years of precedent, right? So it's not like these are random patterns or something that we just made up, right? This, again, 90 plus years of precedent on these patterns holding, right? So we're looking for a typical reaction here. So there's a combination here of, okay, well, how would we finish this? This is not an impulse. I mean, there's almost no way you can work this into something impulsive, right? Even on the craziest, you'd be trying to work some sort of a diag into this with an A, B, C, 1, 2. It's just as it's actually more difficult to try and forecast that given where we're sitting here. This is much more likely, right? I shouldn't say it that way. Right now, as we look at it here, remember an Elliott count, just a snapshot in time, right? Just as in this moment in time, because if this blows up here, okay, maybe we're going to reconsider this. But right now, the idea that we're into a triangle here is reasonable. It's a reasonable thought. I think more reasonable to be trying to turn this into something bullish. This Okay, do we have to have dispute about whether we have a 3 here? I think not, right? We got a 3 there. Now, okay, if we launch here and the triangle gets blown up, okay, maybe we're back here looking to turn this into some sort of a diag, right? And then the low is in here. Okay, that's going to be a challenge to figure out how to count that. Oh, let's go back to what do I have here? I think I had an 8 hour. Let's go back to an 8 hour here and get a look at this. Here, I think we see it better. Okay, what happens here? Well, okay, so of all the things I might say here, I'm going to assume you all know that I would strongly encourage you not to buy into that. Why would you do that? The only one reason, you don't know it's there, right? So even whether you're using, you know, a golden zone of 61 and a 65, which I see now, it's funny to me, right? I guarantee you won't find anyone using that before 2018 when I decided to start using it, right? I see it virtually in every fib poll I see amongst many people. They don't, you know. I'm not trying to blow my own horn, but you won't see it before that, right? And then I came up with a golden corner pocket, right? And so now what do I see here? They don't want to give me credit for it. Again, this is David Halsey's algo interpretation, right? Which I'm always give him full credit of. All I did was put the 65 on because it kept breaking the 61. Right? I called that a golden corner pocket, right? Pulled it literally out of my ass because I used to play a lot of pool. And now I see golden pocket everywhere, right? They don't want to call it a golden zone. They're going to call it a golden pocket, right? It's all right. You know, I don't really care, truth be told. It's just interesting, right? How often I see it and how they use that name. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. What do we have here? 3-3. Well, we got to wait and see, right? Weekends, you know, this lower volume, right, could blow up, could blow down, right? So right now, I think it's a hurry up and wait here. I certainly wouldn't be buying into that. Now, I've got on here from swing low to swing high. We've just got premium discount, right? So here, let's take this one off. And let's take this off, right? That's what we're looking at here from swing high, swing low. Okay, we just came out of the discount. Going into the premium, do we want to be buying up here? Do we want to be buying up here? Well, if you were going to buy, now would be the time. Again, right? So you see how you can talk yourself into that? Oh, well, no, it looks like, okay, maybe we're going to go here. Well, right, do this then. Are you sure? Are you sure you want to buy into that? Right, again, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying, right, it's got a pretty good history of being strong resistance. So we've got, this is only partially mitigated, but that you can make a case here that doesn't need, what do we got here? Supply zone here. That doesn't need any more mitigation because we've tagged the 50 of it. Okay, I'm trying to walk through the thought process here of somebody who's going to buy that. We're right on the edge of premium. We don't have a break of structure here. This would be a change of character. We'd have to go all the way up here to get a break of structure, because this is the high that you know how that goes, right? I'm assuming most of you follow that, right? So this would be our break of structure heading down, right? So we've got a break here. So we'd have to go back to break this because that's the pivot that broke the structure here. So this would be a change of character, right? Which would be okay, right? That's an event. Right, that's an event for a trader. Okay, change of character, because right now it's lower low, lower high. Now we're in between. Thus, the idea of a triangle actually looks pretty good here. Well, we'll see. Right, let's see what happens. If nothing else, right? Okay, I've got something. You could actually make a case that you've got something impulsive here. You could right count it this way and say, okay, it's a 5. It's a 5. Right? I mean, you can squeeze it in there again because I get a double here. So there's no way to have true conviction on that. So you kind of got a little bit of a hurry up and wait. Okay, well, if that's a 5, right, and we're going to come into this resistance, what's next? Right? If right, for you bulls, right, 5, 3, 5. Right? Not a great spot to be a buyer, but again, when I say that, I'm not saying it can't do this. I'm never saying that. Right? Market's going to do what it's going to do. Just saying, where's your best entry? Where's your best entry model? Right? Think of it that way, right? That's all the rage. Well, what's the entry model here? Well, I got a potential for a 5. It's either a 5 or 3, right? I can't tell. But either way, what I can tell, I'm about to hit a golden zone. And I'm coming into some prior resistance here with perhaps unfilled orders here. Bears want to get a piece of that. Why force it, right? If it's going to go, let's say, okay, it goes here and we have a very shallow, and then we start to go. Okay, well, now what are you thinking? Oh, it was 1, 2, and it just had a shallow 2. Well, Bitcoin's notorious for having shallow 2s, right? It would not be an unusual event. Okay, 1, 2, 3, right? Am I still thinking the lows in? It would still be an internal retracement, right, from this swing here to low, right? It's still internal until we get the change of character here. And if we get all the way up here, we get that change of character right there. What 1, 2, 3? Well, right? Do I have to even do it? Right? 4. Right? So you're going to have another opportunity to buy it here. So don't fall for the FOMO just because shit's going up. Right? That's not how to make money and survive long term. I can tell you all day. All it takes is for this to go and like, oh, that Elliott Wave is bullshit, right? It's, I can't help you if that's your mindset, right? I try and do this here as deliberately as I can to give you all the different things to think about here, and there's always somebody who disagrees. The comments I get are amusing, but I'm just trying to, you got to trade what you see, right? Here's what I see: applying our methodology. That's all I'm really doing. It's just that's why every week, everything I do is always the same, right? Because that's our edge, right? And that's what we're teaching you in our belt system is how to approach this with the same discipline and consistency. Every chart you pull up, right? I don't care if it's a 1 minute or a 1 month. Same thing every time, right? That's the edge. Okay, moving on here. So we got to kind of wait and see on this. ETH is so fucking boring here. Let's go over to ETH, right? Okay, when it moves, wake me. All right, okay, are we still in this triangle? Well, this is starting. If we swept this low, you might look like a 5, right? In a triangle, we want a series of 3s, but you could still do it A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4. If it comes down here, you still got a 3. Right, we start to go here, D, E, right? Still looks like we're in a very, very long triangle, right? Not everybody agrees with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So again, consider the alternate, right? What's the alternate, right? For a long time, we considered this, right? Could we be doing that? Yeah, sure, of course we could. Right, we have a little overlap here. We don't even need the overlap anymore, right? The new rules, which I suppose, right, it's going to make the counting easier, right? New rules for diags, right? They don't have to overlap the wave 1, right? It feels like, oh, it's so annoying to have to wait for that. It's EWI, right? They're considered the authority on this. I don't know. I kind of consider Elliott the authority. But in contemporary TA, right, they have made that change, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Still, it could be a big 5. Could be a big 5 going in. How are you going to know, right? What will be the tell? What do we get here? 3 or 5, right? That's the only way you're going to be able to definitively know this, right? So in a way, that's like, oh, fuck, man. So I got to wait for this whole thing to complete before I know what I have? Yeah. Sorry about it, right? If you want to be disciplined and wait, well, if you got that, what would that be, right? You'd have change of character here. Where's the break of structure, right? It's the same thing, right? You'd have to have break of structure up here. That would be a break of structure up. Break up, right? So you'd have the change of character, then the break of structure, right? What's after a break of structure? Retrace, right? It's not, again, I'm not saying the market is obligated. We could go, 1,000 points here. What does it usually do? Right? Trade normal. Don't put your money at risk waiting for Abby normal. Okay, right? So that's just a snooze fest. Okay, let me pop over. I've got let me guys bring these over because this is where I go when I'm looking for things to trade and things to show you guys and things. I look at these every day. Right? This is alt fins, right? We're big fans of theirs. I invested in this early on because I saw the potential of this. So this is what I do when I'm looking for things for Friday's video here. I go to the hot list here in technical analysis and say, okay, well, who's bullish, right? Because I'm a perma bull. I know, right? Hate me if you want to. But I look for what's bullish and I look on their hot list and I go down the list and say, okay, well, let's look at all these. Right, they're on the move, they're bullish, and here's what's happening, right? I've got a pullback in an uptrend, a resistance break, a sideways channel, a channel up, and approaching resistance. Oh, that's mad, excuse me. All right, so for the top 5, I can see what they're doing. These are all emerging patterns. I don't want completed patterns, right? So all looking very, very good. It's so nice here. You can just put these on here, and then you can go and expect them, right, if you want more detail. This is a great service, right? If you're not using it, I encourage it. If you want to be supportive of the channel, we have a link below. Yes, we would get a little kicker on that, but just so you know. Right, again, full disclosure, not trying to hide anything. Okay, so let's go look at them. Oh, hang on a second. Let's get that list down here. Okay, so I have them. Jesus, here I got them So I've got TRX here. So let's get them. Hang on a sec. Okay, so I'm just going to work down the list. Here's TRX to the dollar. I'm on Kraken here as opposed to our sponsor, BloFin, because I need the full history. So I would trade this on BloFin, but I'm going to do the analysis over here on Kraken, right, for U.S. residents, right? That's one of the few exchanges we can use along with Coinbase and just a couple others now. This is such a chop monster here. Let's pull this up. I'm going to start it here. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, working on the 5th. Right? So you can see why it's on the hot list, right? It's on the move. Looks like we've got an impulse underway, and we're trying to complete. We'd be into the 5th of the 5th at this degree. Tradable? Well, you got, on the assumption here, right, they haven't changed this rule here of an impulse, we can't overlap the 1. So you're in a pretty sweet spot there. What about a daily? Let's go to a 4-hour. Pretty sweet spot. 1, 2, 3. So you again, this is an advantage of Elliott Wave. I would propose to you, right? Your worst case here would be, let's do it here. If you're entering here, 1 tick below that low, right? We can't have an overlap of that 1, right? For this to hold as an impulse, assuming we're trading it as an impulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, ABC, 1, 2. Can we get that done? You got all the ingredients here that you'd look for, right? We sweep the liquidity here. Oh, let's just here. We'll do it this way, right? So we sweep that liquidity, up we go. Run into, this is right by the playbook here. Run into that fair value gap here, as you can see it. 1, 2, 3. Now, that's scary. Scary to buy that. Oh, I can't buy it. It's coming down. Well, that's pretty wide-ranging bar here, and I'm not saying buy it right this second, but I'd certainly be keeping an eye on it. We're through the golden, so I'm going to come platinum here, looking for deeper retracements here between the 618 and the 887, right, up to 90%, right? You could look for that as a retrace. Now, that doesn't mean buy it as it's in a free fall here, but I'm looking for a reaction. So that's a 4-hour, right? So give me a little reaction here, right? This is a big displacement bar, right? So that's going to have to get reclaimed. So you'd want to see it take out the pivot high here before the move down. So this might be the one you're looking for. Same thing, right? You control the risk, right? So your stop would be below the pivot. Now, I know, right? You say that, well, wait a minute, I don't want to stop below the pivot because every pivot's a target. Yes, that's exactly right. Every pivot is a target until there are too many bulls, right? It overcomes it, right? At some point, a pivot holds. Right? Now, you could be wrong 3, 4 times in the process of trying to identify the pivot that's going to hold. But at some point, if we are going to, again, if you're applying Elliott Wave, if we're going to have a swing and a retrace, it can't do that. It's no longer a retrace. Right now, it's an external retrace. So at some point, it could be right to the 1 tick below it, or above it, excuse me. One of them's going to hold, right? And so from here to here, that was your risk. If it does this, well, then the whole process starts again because then that's your pivot, right? One of them is going to hold, right? There will always be one that holds. Always, always. It has to, right? Or it just keeps going down, right? So 1, 2, well, got to wait and see, right? So give that a little time. I mean, that's a pretty good bounce right here. So you have this huge imbalance here. That's hard to see it, right? All of this has to be reclaimed, right? If you're coming back this direction and you're disrespecting that imbalance here and the bears, good sign for a bull. So then if you bring it over here, then it becomes what? An inverse fair value gap, right? So if we get up here, well, where's your inducement here? So this would be your last little swing here before it goes down, right? So it's got to come up here and take that out. Otherwise, how do you know the low is in? You don't, right? That's something we spent a lot of time on in the brown belt here. If we're just going low here, if we don't take this out, how do you know the low's in? You don't. Oh, there's the low. Nope. Oh, nope. There it is. Nope. It's got to come all the way back here before you know you have a low. One of the reasons we like Ethereum, right? We like this, right? So it's going to tell you, right? So all of this is just internal. You got to come up here to take it out. So we know we have a low. So what's the hurry, right? You don't want to necessarily buy it down here. And people think, oh, shit, well, I'm going to buy the low. Yeah, I used to be that guy years ago, right? It was always, I could pick the low. And I realized, right, you don't need to. It's higher risk, right? There's no need to do it. What's the difference between here and here? Enough to change your results for the year? No. But just a much more intelligent trade with lower risk. Okay, that's Tron, right? I think keep an eye on that one. Well, let's get a reaction. Let it take that out, right? So you know you got a low. Okay, let me just go right down the list. So there's Tron. I've got helium is next on the list, on the hot list. Looks like we completed a 5. What I got below? Shit, what I got below here? Where's an EWO, right? So nice divergence here into the 5th, right? So all of that. Now, it doesn't mean we couldn't go higher and this could kick, but right now, right? So again, I'm not saying short it. What I'm saying is heads up for a potential buying opportunity coming off this low. This is a little wonky coming down here, right? I wouldn't really care. I would start it right here. Well, clearly there's 2. Clearly the 3, 4. We don't know it's the 5, right? So I'm not saying buy it or sell it. I'm saying sit tight, heads up, right? Let's see what happens when we come down here. A nice little, it's partially mitigated. Really all of this could be demand. Demand zone down here. All this low here before we go up. The swing down before we head up, right? Bullish order flow. Golden zone right there. One day I'd get that on your watch list, right? Has good potential. Just what you want to see. Okay, do I come off of a low with a 5? And again, it sounds too simple. Can't be that simple, can it? Over here on BloFin. Just moving down the list here. KAS, ASPA. I'm on KuCoin again because I need the history. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm out of log scale here. Probably want to look at it in log scale as well. So, you know, 4 times the range is pretty much where you got to do it. That's a penny to 20 cents. You pretty much have to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When I say that, right, I'm not saying don't look at it in arithmetic. I'm just saying, you know, have an awareness of, okay, because sometimes, right, the compression can distort your eye. You're like, oh, that can't be the 2. Oh, yes, it can. 5 to the 50. 5. Wick goes through here. What do we hit here? Golden. Right, so 1, 2, maybe, right? Very tradable. That's a daily. Let's go to a 4. It's not great. 3. No, it just looks like you'd have to do it this way. Well, you could be assuming a diag. Right, since we have these new rules, right, so much more convenient. So 3, 3. This would have to be A of an ABC if we're going to do it as a diag. Something like that. ABC. This is going to have to be WXY. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Right, so WXY into the 2. Let's bring that down. ABC into the 3. Let's take that up so the order's right. ABC into the 3, right? But you know, you're projecting. You know, the alternate would be to put the 1 here and this AB. So fuck. You know, it just gets to be so convoluted there. But I suppose ABC X ABC. You could get away with it. You could do it. It's not beautiful. Wait a second. I've got one of these guys. I don't want these on. All right, so I've got one of these going this direction here. 1, 2. Okay, maybe. It looks like I'm starting in a 5. Let's get down to the 1. Looks like I've got a good start coming off the proposed 2 here, ticking the golden zone. 1, 2, 3, 4. Working on a 5 here for an A. We're going to do a B, right? These would be change of character here. Right, so it didn't produce a new low, right? So that would just be a change of character. We get a sweep of this. A, B. Careful up here, right? Those look like just prime liquidity sweeps, right? So algos will grab those. And then maybe that brings the retrace of the A up here, retrace to the B, right? Retail will buy this. Oh, they swept the high, right? They are consistent. Okay, so that's KAS. Okay, I got a couple more, so hang on. Solano on the list, on the hot list. Some of the best Elliott, right? I don't even have to mark it. It's doing it for me. 1, 2. I've got the internal here. I should have labeled this. Right, pretty hard to miss this. I mean, Hard to shit on Elliott Wave when that's in your face, right? But somebody will. Sure looks like we're doing a sideways 4 here, right? How do we know it's a 4, right? We're not progressing the trend. 1, 2, 3, 4. This, you call this sharp. So what do we got? Looks like A, B, C. This is a 3, but that's steep. So you got a running flat right there. Or excuse me, just a straight flat. Up into a 3, some sort of, looks like Bitcoin. Right? Very much like it. A, B, C. Right? We don't know. Here, let's do it. A, B, C. Could be. Maybe. Not the start you'd hope for. All mitigated here. 1, 3. Let's get in there. Oh, come on. What are we doing with that? 1, 2. 1, 2. Right. Could you buy it here? Well, you could buy it here with leverage, right? Where's your stop? Right here. It's not too hard to figure out here. This deep retracement. You could wait a little bit here. Right? Don't feel like, oh God, I got to do it. Right? We'll see what happens here. Do we got? Oh shit, what am I on? Let's go to a 1. See how good that looks. It's not great. It's not real clear, but you could probably talk yourself into it. Oh, what we do here? 1, 2. Oh shit! You have to do it this way. 3, 4, 5. All right, we this is a little bit cleaner here. This is some sort of ugly diag. ABC. There's your impulse 4. Okay, right, just buy the book. Right, what do we do here? Looks like a 50. All right, in the pocket. 1, 2. 1, 2. Looks like you go again. God damn it. Right, boom. 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 One of these is going to have to go for a 3. All right, so this would go, oh, we could do it this way, so I'm going to get the full picture on this. Oh, come here. Let's put that in white. All right, so do we have a 1, 2, 1, 2, right, 3? Looking for a big 3 here. 1, 2, this would be the big 3, so perhaps we get a little more of a kick in that 5th. That's 1, 6, 1, 8 here. So all of that lines it up pretty nicely. Channeling. Let's use the outer, right, since we already completed here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 3. What would this be up here? Well, this would be change of character. We've got a break up here. That's the target. Can we break that? Solana is right up there with Bitcoin and ETH, right? Don't miss this. You feel free to disagree with me on where we are in account or whatever. What I'm saying. I'm just saying if you pull back on this, really you're gonna miss this. Well, now keep in mind here, right? When I say that, we got here 400, 500, maybe we get up here, high 4s. Assuming we do that, let's not forget that after that, what are we anticipating? Right, 50%, which will bring it back down here to the 60s. But don't 130 to 480. Don't miss that. I have no agenda other than to try and help you be profitable. Don't miss that. Okay, let me get this Solana. What do I got? Hang on, I got AAVE. Right here is also on our list. Kind of same thing right here. So 1, 2 seems reasonable here. I don't really care that that's not the lowest low here. This is all just a bottoming process here. I framed it out here so we could look premium discount. Note, right, how we've come back down here. Here's your discount, right? We just toe, launch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Overlap, right? Doesn't matter. We can call it a diag, right? The new rules are very convenient. Very convenient. God, it's making my life a lot easier. you know, I'm not completely comfortable with it yet, but it definitely makes it easier where I don't have to go, oh, fuck, right? It overlapped the 1, so it can't be an impulse. Right? I don't have to do that anymore. Again, you know, maybe it's the result of, you know, how algo driven everything is now, right? Maybe that's part of the reasoning. I don't quite know the reasoning, but that is the new rule, right? We don't have to overlap. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So this would overlap here, right? So I'm going to call this an ABC, 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 right? This does overlap. So if it overlapped, we're certainly going to call it a diag. But if it didn't overlap and it was just a series of 3s, we could still call it a diag, right? How convenient. Okay, so here we get a 1, 2, 3. There's a little overlap there. But it looks like that could be a triangle, so the terminus of the 4 actually would be up a bit. I can get it on that right there. A, B, C, D, E, up for the 5. Now, do I know we're done here? I do not. It looks like we've just swept liquidity here. To break this would be another break of structure. So if we go up again, right, it's kind of nice to have these marked, right? If we go up again, what are we anticipating? All right, so if you're not in this, you're probably late to that party. Why? What? You don't need to fret that. If we go up here, all right, so you got unmitigated order flow right here. Right there's demand zone. You know, you're late to this. Well, right. So it's easy for me to say that, right? I'm not in this either, right? So I'm late. We're all looking at this. If you're bringing up that chart, where's the next opportunity? What do you want to buy it now? Have we just swept the high here? Maybe not, right? This is not a break of structure because did you note that? Because it didn't close. It's not a close above, right? That's why this is the break of structure, not this. That's why it's not a break of structure. We don't get a close above. Right, so it's just a liquidity grab, right, which is why the X is here. It's just liquidity, right? Right now, right, could be the 5, could be. But let's not assume we're not going to go higher again. Could be, and we get a break of structure, right? That just confirms what we'd anticipate next is the retrace. And again, it's the same thing every time, right? Right, nice channeling. We're self-contained in this little channel here. So until we break that, I just assume higher prices. But eventually, right, we could go up here, It all leads to, after a break of structure, retrace. Okay, I got AAVE. I think I got them all. Okay, so let's go. Hang on a second. Let's go look at the S&P. All right, this is left over from the live streams we do on Wednesday. This is a members. I remember had this all teed up for me. It was so good. There's no reason for me to redo it. I wish I knew who this was. I'd love to give you credit for this because this is just some beautiful Elliott work here. So whoever it is, right, is very skilled and knows what they're doing. Whenever I take their content here, I copy it over here, and so every now and then I'm left with it. So the idea here is, you know, it's hard not to see the potential for this to turn into this 5th here, right? But I have continued to express my concern that this is a 2-year, right? You've heard me say this for the last month. This is a 2-year impulse. That's a 2-week correction. It's not that we couldn't be done here. It's just a little abnormal, right? That, again, I think 15 months, 15 days. It's possible, right? So what's the simplest thing to see? Oh, okay, well, even though that's a little abnormal here, maybe I've got a 1, 2, and we're just going to keep going up for the 5 of the 3, right? That would, let's pull back a little bit, right? So it would be 1, 2, we're completing the 5th of the 3rd, right? If we're going to go up here, if this is what's happening here, and we're going to go up here, that's the 5th of the 3rd. Now, what's this right here? All right, that's election day to inauguration. Mark that out. Well, shit, if you're in the States, right, you're going to know about it. All right, crazy time. I hope it's not bloody and violent, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was, right? Crazy time's coming, right? So mark that out. This is an area to be hedged. That's all I'm going to say, right? Of all the markets where uncertainty is reflected in the price action here, this is a window here we want to be very careful in. Right, so you could see how we could, right? If this is going to go, if this is 1, 2, and we're going to go 3, 4, 5 and get the 3 up here, okay, well, you could see how that could, right in that time window before inauguration. I mean, you can almost see what's potentially happening here. Right, get through it, right? Assuming we can get through it in one piece. 4. Right, just a couple of lines. That's all you need to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then we're still going. Now, before we just assume that's the route, let's get this off here. This is an alternate, right? Just because this is what I continue to just, I'm not saying I know. I'm not saying all I'm saying is be mindful of this. This is extremely unusual. Now, it's also, let me go to an 8 here. This is not a great looking 5, right? So it could be A, B. This is just essentially just a straight line, right? That's where the algos are pumping, right? They don't give you, certainly out here on these higher time frames, there's no pullback, right? They don't let you in, right? So it's very deliberate. There is no retrace to let you in, right? Except on the very smaller case, even on the 15-minute, right? They're squeezing you out, right? There's no retrace, so you can't get in unless you buy it. You buy it's going up, which is hard to do, right? It's not what we teach. So the alternate here, let me go to a 4. Maybe it shows up better on a 4, right? The alternate here is this A, B, and this is all a C. Well, the candidate would be an X, right? Now we look here and we go, oh, this is likely a 3. What are we doing here, right? We came right to the 50, to the tick. So it's easy to think, oh, fuck, right? Well, who cares? Right? It's only 2 weeks. 1, 2, right? That would be the alternate here. Let's get it on there. Thought I had it. 1, 2, and we're going 3, 4, 5, right? To complete the 5th at this degree. Now, this X, right? We could do an A, B, C. We could do an A, B, C. Well, this X could go higher. It could expand beyond the 3. It could, right? So it's not typical, right? But there's a limit to how far that can go. Typically, it would be 100% of the W, no more than 200. That would be the max, right? This would be roughly, if you look at this coming this direction. So if you do it this way, here, let's do it this way. I've got a template here going back this direction, right? So here's 127. 144. This would be about as high as you might end. If you were thinking that, remains to be seen, if we're going to do an ABC into that, still a candidate for an X before we come down for the Y. It actually, we could have a triangle too, right? 3, 3, 3, 3, right? So we could roll over again, right? It's hard to call these, right? We could roll over again, put in a 4. So it'd be A, B, C, D, E, and then we go. See, consider, at least if we do that, then the time balance plays better. Again, this is not even 2 weeks off of 1 year, right? So if we do an A, B, C, D, E into a triangle here, and this could roll a little further out, right? We know we have the rate cut coming, right? Don't assume the rate cut means we're off to the races. Rate cut almost always means retrace coming. And don't take my word for it. Look back historically, right? It's very common after the rate cut, right? Well, because who thinks, off to the races, off to the moon? Is there anybody who doesn't think it's not factored into the price that we're going to get at least 25 points in September at this next Fed meeting? I think that's pretty much about as guarantee a lock as Bitcoin going to 100 grand in my mind. It's definitely, they're at least at 25. Right now, is it 25 or 50? Don't assume that means we're off to the market or off to the moon. Don't assume that, right? And even if we do it, A, B, C, right? We got to see what do we get here. If this is 1, 2, well, this first thing that has to happen is this has to turn into a 5. 1, 2, okay, I got a good start on it. This has to finish, right? We got to have this. If we get that, right? Now, would you know? Would you know that it's not that? Nope, you wouldn't know. It could still be A, B, right? Or pardon me, W, X coming down for the Y. Could still be down here for the Y. Oh, look at this, right at the end, right in the midst of election day to inauguration day, right? I know. Well, it's easy to think, oh, yeah, you're overly cautious. Why, blah, blah. What does it normally do? That's all I'm saying. All right, so if we get a 5 here, what do we anticipate, right? You don't have to play ball here. I'm going to turn that around. What do we anticipate? All right, we're going to get a correction. If we do a 5 here, we're only going to know, right? We got to see what do we get here? Do we get a 1, 2? Well, if so, then the next wave is going to be the big one. And this will be the 4, right? This 4 will come over here. We'll get all of this will be like, okay, well, I was wrong. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And we're going much, 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 much higher because that will be the 5 of 3 at that degree. 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going up here. 6,500, 6,600. High-class problems, but careful about filling that in your mind's eye, right? And just assuming it. Let the market prove it. Next thing it has to prove, do I get a 5 here that takes out the high? What will that be? All right, we break this. What do we have? All right, we got a break of structure up. What do we anticipate next? Retrace. Right? You can kind of just follow this along, right, using your Elliott Wave skills. And this is pretty rudimentary. 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5. Right? It's the genius of Elliott Wave. 5s and 3s. Right? Seems too simple. It's not like we see it. He said sarcastically. Okay, there's 45 minutes. God, that's probably too much. I went kind of long today. Okay, there you go, guys. Lots to chew on there. I hope you get some ideas and you follow along with the consistency of the approach here. Again, it's the same thing every time, every way, right? So some people go, oh my God, it's so fucking boring. You here to make money or are you here to be entertained? Okay, guys, have a good weekend. We'll catch you next week.